There are moments when history speaks louder than opinion, and the stones of a nation begin telling a story that no one can silence. Today, that story comes from the land where Jesus walked. But here is the real question. After 2,000 years, can archaeology still confirm what the Gospels claim? Can physical evidence truly support the life, actions, and impact of Jesus of Nazareth? For decades, some argued that the Bible was a collection of symbolic narratives, beautiful, meaningful, but ultimately unverified. Yet every few years, a shovel strikes the ground somewhere in Israel, and something unexpected comes to light. A boat buried under mud, a synagogue forgotten by time, an inscription carrying the name of a figure once dismissed as legend, piece by piece. These discoveries raise a challenge that cannot be ignored. This video examines some of the most significant archaeological findings connected directly to the world of Jesus. We will explore real places, real objects, and real inscriptions, evidence that brings the New Testament into sharper focus. Whether you are a believer seeking stronger foundations or a skeptic searching for clarity, the journey through these discoveries may change how you see history. In 1986, a severe drought exposed the remains of an ancient wooden boat buried in the mud of the Sea of Galilee. After careful excavation and testing, archaeologists confirmed it dated to the early 1st century, the exact period when Jesus lived and taught. This vessel is not claimed to be Jesus' boat, but its importance lies elsewhere. It represents the type of boat used by fishermen in Galilee, including Peter, Andrew, James, and John. The Gospels frequently describe Jesus teaching from a boat, calming storms, and traveling across the lake with his disciples. This discovery shows the physical reality behind those accounts. The Galilee boat offers a tangible glimpse into daily life at the time, how fishermen worked, how goods were transported, and what the environment around Jesus truly looked like. It grounds the gospel stories in real history, not imagination. This find reminds us that Jesus' ministry unfolded among real people, with real tools, in a real setting, one that archaeology continues to uncover piece by piece for many years. Some scholars claim that synagogues did not exist in Israel during the time of Jesus. If true, this would challenge the gospel accounts describing him teaching regularly in these gathering places. Archaeology has proven the claim incorrect. Excavations across Israel have uncovered multiple synagogues clearly dating before 70 AD at Capernaum, Jericho, Magdala, Beth Shean, and other sites. Their structures include benches, columns, reading platforms, and ritual areas consistent with Jewish communal worship. One of the strongest pieces of evidence is the Theodotus inscription found in Jerusalem. It records a 1st century synagogue leader, Butui, who built a facility specifically for teaching the Torah and hosting travelers. This directly aligns with the world described in the Gospels. These discoveries show that synagogues were active and widespread during Jesus' ministry. They confirm that his teachings took place in real, physical locations where people gathered to study scripture and debate religious questions. In short, archaeology supports the historical setting of the Gospels and strengthens our understanding of how Jesus interacted with the communities of his time. For many years, visitors to Jerusalem were shown a Byzantine-era pool built in the 5th century and told it was the Pool of Siloam mentioned in John 9. But historians suspected the original 1st century pool had not yet been found. In 2004, that changed. During routine construction work, workers uncovered ancient steps. Archaeologists quickly identified them as part of the authentic Second Temple period Pool of Siloam, the very location where Jesus sent the blind man to wash. Excavations moved slowly because part of the pool lay under private property. But in 2023-21, expanded digging revealed more sections, including the eastern wall dating firmly to the time of Jesus. This discovery matters because it ties a specific gospel event to a real place. The Pool of Siloam is not symbolic. It existed. It had the exact features described in Scripture, and it stood in the same Jerusalem Jesus walked through. The uncovering of this pool confirms that the gospel writers described real locations with accuracy, grounding their accounts in verifiable history. In 1990, workers uncovered a 1st century burial cave near Jerusalem. Inside were several limestone bone boxes. but one stood out due to its detailed decoration. An inscription on the side identified it as belonging to Joseph, son of Caiaphas. This is widely accepted as the ossuary of Caiaphas, the high priest who presided over the trial of Jesus according to the Gospels. The bones inside belonged to a man around 60 years old, matching historical expectations. The name Caiaphas is rare, and no other figure with this name held such authority in that era. The identification is strong, the significance is clear. Archaeology confirms that Caiaphas was a real historical person, not a symbolic character. He lived, held power, and played a central role in the events leading to Jesus' crucifixion. This discovery provides physical evidence linking the gospel narrative to verifiable individuals, strengthening the historical grounding of the New Testament. For many years, some critics argued that Pontius Pilate, the Roman governor who sentenced Jesus, was not well attested in history. That changed in 1961 when archaeologists excavating a theater in Caesarea Maritima uncovered a limestone block reused in a staircase. On its surface was a Latin inscription dedicating a building to Emperor Tiberius and signed by Pontius Pilatus, prefect of Judea. This find is significant for several reasons. One, it confirms Pilate's real historical existence, matching the exact title recorded in the Gospels. Two, it places him in Judea during the precise period in which Jesus was tried. It validates the political context described in the New Testament: Roman control, local tensions, and the authority structure that shaped Jesus' final hours. The Pilate Stone does not tell us what Pilate thought or felt, but it removes any doubt that he was a documented Roman official with the power to authorize crucifixions. It is one of the clearest archaeological links between the gospel accounts and known Roman administration. The Nazareth inscription is a marble tablet containing an imperial decree that threatens the death penalty for anyone who moves a body from a tomb. This punishment is unusually severe for the Roman world, where grave violations normally resulted in fines, not execution. What makes this inscription noteworthy is its dating. It comes from the early 1st century, the same period when reports of Jesus' resurrection were spreading through Jewish and Roman communities. Ancient sources record that debates about Christus, a common misspelling of Christus, caused disturbances in Rome during Emperor Claudius's reign. Jewish leaders at the time accused Jesus' disciples of stealing his body. Against this backdrop, a decree focused specifically on moving bodies, not stealing valuables, fits remarkably well. While the inscription does not mention Jesus by name, its timing and content strongly suggest it was a response to the controversy surrounding the empty tomb and the rise of early Christianity. In short, the Nazareth inscription shows that the resurrection story caused real political concern, serious enough for Rome to issue a harsh, targeted law. Not every archaeological discovery is grand or famous. Some come from quiet places that reveal how ordinary believers lived out their faith. In the caves near Bet Loya, southwest of Jerusalem, one such testimony still survives behind the branches of a fig tree. A small cave opens into a cold limestone chamber. On one of the walls, a simple Greek inscription appears beneath an early Christian cross. The words are brief but powerful. Jesus is present. Scholars believe this inscription dates to the early spread of Christianity, possibly during periods when believers met secretly to avoid persecution. It is not decorative or ceremonial. It is a statement of conviction from people who gathered quietly but believed deeply. What makes this discovery meaningful is its honesty. It shows that faith in Jesus was active in Judea earlier than some critics claimed, and that early Christians expressed their belief in direct, personal ways, carving their hope into stone, even in hidden places. This inscription may be simple, but it speaks clearly. The first Christians did not follow a distant legend. They believed Jesus was real, alive, and present among them. Jacob's Well is one of the few biblical locations accepted by almost all historians as authentic. Unlike other sites affected by centuries of rebuilding, this well has remained in the same position for over 2 millennia. Located near modern Nablus in ancient Samaria, it sits beneath the Greek Orthodox Church of St. Fotini, descending into the crypt. Visitors find the original stone shaft over 40 meters deep, still fed by natural spring water. This is the very place described in John 4, where Jesus spoke with the Samaritan woman. He asked for water, then offered her something greater, the living water that gives true life. What makes this site remarkable is how little it has changed. The structure, depth, and water source match ancient descriptions with striking accuracy. Jacob's well matters because it links a major gospel teaching to a real, identifiable location. It shows that Jesus' encounters did not happen in symbolic settings, but in everyday places where people worked, traveled, and struggled. Here, history and scripture align with unusual clarity. The early Christians lived under constant pressure. So many gathered in caves and remote areas where they could worship safely. These hidden places have preserved simple but meaningful traces of their faith. Crosses carved into stone, short prayers, and brief inscriptions. Archaeologists have found such markings across regions like Bet-Loya, showing that Christian communities spread quickly beyond Jerusalem, even in the first decades after Jesus. These writings were not created by leaders or officials. They were made by ordinary believers meeting quietly, often in fear of persecution. What makes these discoveries important is what they reveal. Early Christianity was active, organized, and growing, even in difficult conditions. The faith did not expand because of influence or power, but because people truly believed what they witnessed. These small inscriptions are silent but powerful reminders of how the gospel took root, one hidden gathering at a time. Archaeology cannot prove every detail of the Christian message, but it does confirm the world in which the Gospels took place. It verifies the people, the locations, the political structures, and the customs described in Scripture. This matters because it shows that the story of Jesus was recorded within real history, not legend or imagination. Findings such as the Galilee boat, ancient synagogues, the Pool of Siloam, the ossuary of Caiaphas, and the Pilate Stone all point to the same truth. The events described in the New Testament were rooted in an identifiable time and culture. Even early Christian inscriptions show how quickly the message spread. Despite persecution, these discoveries strengthen faith by connecting belief to historical reality. They remind us that the gospel emerged from actual conversations, real conflicts, and real places that can still be touched today. Archaeology does not replace faith, but it gives believers a solid foundation and invites skeptics to reconsider the evidence with an open mind. Across Israel, the stones, the inscriptions, and the ruins all point in one direction. The world of Jesus is not a symbolic landscape, it is a historical one. The Galilee boat tells us what daily life looked like for fishermen who became disciples. The ancient synagogues confirm that Jesus taught in real community spaces. The Pool of Siloam connects a specific miracle to a specific place. The ossuary of Caiaphas and the Pilate Stone remind us that the trial of Jesus unfolded under real authorities, whose names are carved into history, and the early Christian inscriptions show how quickly his message spread, even under pressure. None of these discoveries replace faith, but together, they form a foundation that strengthens it. They show that the gospel writers were not inventing stories. They were recording events rooted in the same world we can still touch, measure, and excavate today. As we look at these findings, one truth becomes unavoidable. The life of Jesus left a trace that time. War and skepticism have not erased. His presence shaped communities, confronted leaders, and inspired followers who carved their belief into stone 2,000 years later. That evidence continues to speak. The question now is simple but important. If archaeology keeps confirming the world of Jesus, what will you do with that evidence? Your answer is the beginning of your own journey.